Hi guys, I've got something different for you today. This is an Amiga power supply. I've already undone the case. What I'm going to attempt to do with this, I'm shooting this off of my phone because it's an absolute nightmare setting up everything, and I'm streaming shortly, so I have to make do with this. But what I'm tempted to do with this, I'm getting random freezes and games crashing and stuff like that with WHD load. So the idea of this is to replace the normal power supply instead of recapping it with something a bit more reliable, so modern interior, in the shape of this. So this is called a what's called a Mean Well power supply. A lot of companies use them. It's switched mode and there's three outputs. So you've got -12, +12 and +5. You can buy these from RS for about 40 quid. There's the specs. It's RT-65B, although the RS components catalogue number is different, 413-645. So the one that they've been talking about on the Amiga group is the RT, I think it's a 50B, and I think that was relative to the wattage. Try and find it on the specs, can't see it, but I'm sure it was 50 watts altogether. The other one, this is about 60-65. It's slightly bigger this way and it's a lot bigger that way by about 3 centimeters, but again you've got better amps out on each rail, -12, +12, 5 volts. And the idea is, I'm going to give full credits to the guy who done the original thing. I'm going to have to look it up because I can't remember who it was. It was someone else that told me about this. But the other one fits exactly in here. Now this one is, again, it's slightly bigger. You can see it's not sitting down. I'm going to have to do some shaving on this side, or well, equal shaving on either side, and it should just drop in there. There you go. There's enough room to get the power lines in and over, because there's a bit of space in the top of this as well. So up the top here, I'll probably bring the power lines in the top, bring them up and over, back down into the front. So you'll have the input in here, so the alternating current, wires going over to the front into the AC, live and neutral, and then everything else comes out the front here. So that's to your Amiga power supply, so your plug, your earth, voltage 3, voltage 2, I think that's the 12 volt. Let's have a look. So V1 is +5. That's all the way on the right. V2 +12. And V3 is -12. I'm going to have to find out what the +5 volts adjusting is. That might be to get it bang on, but yeah. So yeah, I'll film this as I go, and hopefully it goes okay, and then we'll fire the Amiga up. Right, okay, all I'm going to do is just file these down, just to give me a bit more space either side. Okay, so I've gotten so far, it's in. What I've done is just shave down that side. I'll just show you before I take it out. This is how far it is to the standoffs. It's right on the standoffs. So when you fit this, if you fit this one, If you fit the normal one in the instructions, you won't need to do this because it's a lot shallower that way and that way again. So what I've done, show you quick. So only one side I've shaved. You don't need to shave the other side because one side's enough. Also, you'll notice a little tab at the bottom there. I've taken that out, otherwise it won't sit flat. Now when you put this in, you'll have that amount of space from top to bottom, from there to there, because it's sitting on this platform. So if you wanted to, when the AC comes in this end, you could, I mean I'm going to extend this out, but you could run this underneath and then up and round into the front of the AC port on this. I may well do that, but it looks like, for me, the easiest way around, because this is already above this point, I'll probably just go straight across and down. Up to you whatever way you do it. The only other thing to point out is it won't actually close until you shave these legs as well. If you notice, I've just beveled the edges of these. You can just see that's flat there, right on that edge, on all four of them. Again, just move it out of the way. All four of these are flattened down, not too much because you'll expose the outer part of the screw once it goes in. Again, all four have just shaved down. It's quite an easy pointer actually. There's a little line, and I've shaved down to that line, so the whole lot of this stem, and it's actually quite a nice fit. Once it goes in, it shuts really nice. So yeah, it's not touching anything. So when the screws go in, if they do touch the frame, it's only ever going to earth it out. So yeah, there's nothing important in the way. Probably literally just touch this and this side here, but yeah, it's a nice fit. So just wiring now, let's get on it. Just want to touch on something quick. So this is your input. Again, it's quite straightforward. There's your earth, blue is neutral, brown is live, so they've all just got to come off the board, switch included, and also this side. So everything just needs snipping, and you can chuck this whole bit away. I might keep it because I like OEM stuff. I don't want to throw anything away just in case there's something that comes out I can reverse. Again, I could just recap these and see how it goes, but it might be something more formidable that's going down. So let's get to it. Okay, that's the first bit done. So all I've done is snipped everything off the board. You don't want to touch them capacitors, so these underneath, don't touch them, just carefully snip the wires, otherwise you're going to get a shock. Let's just read some of these values out. Yeah, so some of these deliver 383 volts, you don't really want to touch them, to be honest. And there you go, that's what you're left with. So this is the Amiga power input from the mains, and that's the output to the Amiga plug that goes into the Amiga. What I'll do is I'll get the colours written out so you can follow it, and I'll put it in the link below so you guys can follow. Okay, right, just want to touch on something quick. So I've stripped this down, taken that length off, just show you what it was. So that's again the AC input. You might need to just run a Stanley down that centre on this point, just to, you can splay it open and move this up and down the wire. I'm going to put a little bit of epoxy resin in that, but there you go, there's the input ready. Again, that will go over and down to this point. Again, you can go under if you want to. I'll probably give this a bit more stress relief, so I may give it a bit more wire, and instead of going straight over, it just doesn't look right to me. I may well put it this way, give it, like I say, a bit of stress relief, and go over that way and over, or possibly this way. That way may be better. Yeah. Again, I'd put a little bit of epoxy resin on that because that is going to start to move and you don't want that happening. So yeah, I'd do that. And on this part I will probably get some cable ties and cable tie this off so that doesn't move before I put it down there. So that's that bit. This one would be straightforward. Again, you may, I've not done it yet. It doesn't seem like I can pull it, but I might have to run a Stanley knife just down that edge, pull it through. Just gives me a bit more cable. Let's just see, it might even reach. Yeah, we might even get away with that. So you might not need to strip that one down. So yeah, it's quite a straightforward, fairly easy job, but the real test will be booting it up. Now I thought the switch wasn't going to clear, because as you take the switch off, that part of the switch live goes on the back there, and then you've got this point that will go into the board on the PSU, so that will go to the live on the PSU. I didn't think the switch was going to fit, because if you look at that, I thought that was further down here, but it's not. Yours might be different, so double check. You know, if your switch is in a different position or it's lower, it may catch the top of this. But I mean, I'm lucky because this one sits all the way into the top of there, so that will just clear that nice once that goes on. And again, if I was to imagine the top was on, that would be sitting there like that. The electrical connections are way above that, and they should just miss. Again, what I'm going to do, you see that it's just missing there. What I'm going to do is connect all these with spade connectors, possibly. Oh well, sorry, yeah, this will be done with spade connectors. And again, that will go live into the live point. But what I'll do is I'll use heat shrink over this, so it can't short circuit. So yeah, see you in a bit. Okay, it's getting interesting now. I've just found out the colours. I'll put a little picture here showing the diagram, but I'll just go through it quick. So plus 12 volts is the brown. Just trying to get it on screen. Plus 12 volts is the brown. Plus 5 volts is red. The white is minus 12 volts. Black is your ground, or 0 volts. And the yellow, that is actually shield wire or earth. Now, in the normal power supply, that wire goes to this point here. That's what it was cut from, and that is related to the ground wire. It comes on the AC side. So there's a track that runs all the way from here, right the way around to that point, and it joins up on this cable. So these two should be joined together when they go into the power supply. So on the earth point in the power supply, this one here, earth, they both got to go into that point. So what I'm going to do is solder these two together so they can go into that point. Now I'm going to tin the others. Just so when we start screwing down into the power supply, they've got solder on and they don't fray. Just something I like to do. You can screw them up just without solder, but you don't want to go all the way up to right the way up, because you want a tiny little bit of flex on it. If you solder right up into the join, so if you solder right up to this point, you've not got any flex in the cable, so just solder the end. There you go. Now I'd say that's ready for crimping, sorry, for screwing down. So I'll put it back in a case. We'll get ready to screw it down. Actually, no, saying that, I'll just cut that back and tin that. That's to the switch. And then we're ready. Also, the blue one, that needs cutting back and tinning, and then we're ready to putting it all in. And then we're ready for putting it all in. So I'll just do these two and I'll be back. Right, okay, so the black and the blue is ready to be tinned. Again, don't solder right up to the sheath. You just want enough so it can clamp down. There you go. The longer you leave it on there, the further it goes up the sheath inside, and it just makes it a little bit brittle, so yeah. Anyway, let's get it in. Okay, so that's all put in now. Again, I'll probably colour code this so you can see what's going on. Do a bit of screenshotting. So there you go, that's how it is. So COM on this, it doesn't say on the side. Again, I'll put the side photos up of this at the end so you can see what's going on, but that means your common ground. So black goes to your common ground. Again, these are for the live switching. So I've got the heat shrink. That's what the heat shrink goes down to from that size. So after it's heat shrunk, that's what size it shrinks to. That's enough. It's a bit overkill for this side of the wire, but for the actual that part that'll shrink down nicely on that. That's brilliant. Again, the thicker the better, to be honest, because again, more resistance against that. Right, let's get the switch put on. It's actually quite nice doing it on the phone. There we go. Brilliant. So this heat shrink's got glue in it, so once it's on as well, it won't be going anywhere. Do it. So it's just a case of putting it in here. Okay. So again, just off them feet, just so it sits on there. Just there. This can be the first time I put this in. That's nice, nice. Brilliant. Not much persuasion there, that's good. Awesome. Right, okay, so now out of it. Okay, so that's that side done. Awesome. Nice bit of cables are nice and relaxed. That will go over. Again, I've got to put epoxy resin on this side at some point to keep this from moving, but just to test it. Okay, right, I've hit a snag. Because this power supply is a different configuration, your normal Amiga plug, which is this end, are these colours, and this is your input end for your mains. So we've stripped this down, okay, and they would come in that end. So this configuration here would be at that end of the power supply, okay. So your live comes in that end and is literally about there, as well as the earth and whatnot. So you got the earth, neutral, live. Now you can't put this around the other way, so I can't have the switch here, which is the snag. It has to go that end. So what you're going to have to do is cut this down, or cut this off, turn it round this way so the brown comes out of this point. I'll just show you, I might as well show you live, because the switch will need to go in the other end. So that will need to be soldered that end. This will need to be cut off, put this end, to give you the length to go back that way for the switch. That's the only snag, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, all done. As you can see, swapped over. That is now here, over to this point. This has now been cut, so that was brown, you can just see, brown cable there. Now cut, soldered and heat shrunk back to this. So we're back this end. Now that should shut, not quite nicely. Again, I will put some strain relief in this cable. For now, I just want to see if it shuts together nice. There you go. One Amiga. There you go. One Amiga PSU. Just want to double check the internals, make sure everything's alright, nothing's touching before I switch it on. I don't want to go bang, to be honest. Cables look good. Again, I may put some heat shrink on here just to... I mean, it's not going to move, the cables are fine. I've seen a hell of a lot worse. There's a bit of strain relief there, it's not tight. You could probably come in a little bit more. Again, you need to glue this really. I will test it, but yeah, you will need to glue it. And there you go. Hopefully it helps someone. Let's get it tested. Okay, so we got the Amiga 1200 ready. First switch on, let's see what happens. Ooh. We have life. Nice. Okay, you got a green LED in there as well, so you could probably extend that out up into the side of the PSU if you wanted, maybe on the power switch end. But for me, you know, I want it as OEM as I can, and that's it. So it's just set patching. I've got I always say Windows, and I've got Workbench 3.1.4 on it. It just rebooted and set patched. So yeah, brilliant. It looks good. Awesome. Oh, yeah, that's the only problem. Mind you, there you go, all sorted. Sorted. Hope that helps you. I'm just going to screw it back up. And yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, just wanted to say thanks to Ian Stedman. He provided a photograph of the Amiga plug-in pinout, and I could relate them to the colours, so thanks for that. Again, Indigo Lemon from EAB, you've been brilliant. Yeah, and that's it. I just wanted to say a couple of thanks to a few people, and that's it. So, Amiga forever, people. Woo!
Riot Retro Gaming. Wednesdays, 9 GMT.